Hello and welcome to the Jeff Ahern Show. A little bit different studio here today. I'm actually in Connecticut, so I'm at my folks' place. So actually, it looks a lot better than mine. You compare the studios. If you compare the one I'm in right now, except for those little bright here. Give me a second. I think you're getting a better deal with me here. Hang on, I'm just noticing this now. Let's see if it works better. It's not really no major improvement there. Which is odd because I pulled down the screen and it literally you couldn't tell that I did anything. So let's talk about the week. I'm having a great week. I hope you are too. Like I said, I'm out in Connecticut. I just got back from Sedona. So if you follow me regularly, you may have noticed some differences in the audio on my newscasts because I'm doing them out of hotels and just places that are not my studio. But I am back home Monday. So I'm excited about that. I'll be back in my home studio and it'll be pretty nice. But let's talk about what's going on right now in the week. Also, don't forget to follow me on jeffahern.com. I just see my latest news stories. I just did one on Kamala Harris and her. I guess we can start with her. Why not? And her little thing on Colbert. It is not good news when Colbert, who's probably the most leftist late night talk show host at this point. You see maybe Seth Meyers, but Colbert, I don't know. I think he's got a beat. And just for proof, Colbert's audience, if you didn't know this, as of February last month, was still required to wear masks. You had to be fully masked to go to. And they didn't even let the kids stop wearing masks. Colbert's audience, you want to go see his show, you gotta show you bleed blue and you're a diehard wokester. You got to slap a mask on your face. Colbert, not so much. He doesn't wear a mask. Remember when he was dancing around, everyone's wearing a mask. He's still not, again, the hypocrisy of the left. So she's on his show and he asks her, what are the duties? It's a pretty basic. These are all softball questions. Nothing's hard. This is all designed to make her look good because her approval ratings are in the toilet. Nobody likes her. I think she's less liked than Biden, which is not an easy task, but that's where we're at. So this is a PR piece. So softball questions, let's make you look good. Let's try and get your image shined up. Maybe people won't realize that everyone who works for you quits very quickly after they start. Why is that? It's Kamala Harris. And so he gives her easy softball questions. Here's one, and this is the one she can't handle. What are the duties? What would you say the duties are of the vice president? She had to avoid it. She was evasive about it. She didn't it's not a complicated question. Say some stuff that you did. I mean, isn't there got to be some kind of job description that for the position. If you ask me what a vice president does, I could make something up. I mean, I have to with her. She really doesn't do much of anything. And that is the point that I'm trying to make. She doesn't do much of anything. She doesn't. She's just kind of waiting in the wings, hoping Joe dies, hoping, just enjoying her little life there and not going to the border ever. So she really doesn't do much. She doesn't have much to talk about. She can't say, well, I've done this or I'm working on this initiative. Vice presidents usually have like a passion project or something that they can focus their time on, to make the country better. She, not so much. What does she do? She seems to avoid getting things done. A prime example is she's the border czar. So she can't come in and say, look, Joe Biden made me the border czar, and I've done a great job at the border. We're really catching a lot of fentanyl now, child sex trafficking, terrorists moving in. We're really cracking down and just making sure that it's not a wide open border. She can't say any of that because she doesn't do any of that. She doesn't do anything. She visited the border one time because she basically got guilted into it and has no intention of doing anything there. And outside of that, what does she do? Do you know? You don't, right? I mean, what does she really do? What else? Her thing after Colbert said, look, you didn't answer my question. What do you do as the vice president? Then she went to, I went to this meeting in Ukraine and condemned Russia for, atrocities. Okay. That's like what you did last week. Great. But what have you really done? And the answer is nothing. She has nothing to stand on. So she has to distract from a simple question like, what is your job? Well, what does your job entail? Because it should entail more than nothing. And then last week talking about Russia and a group of people that are very, pro sentiment of the same sentiment that Russia is guilty of atrocities of war crimes, which they are. But the interesting thing about that is, well, why? How did Russia do this in the first place? How did Russia go into Ukraine? How was all this funded? And the answer to that is also very simple: through oil sales. That's what was it? I love this line. It's not mine, but it's a great line. Russia is a giant gas station pretending to be a country. That's what they are. They're not particularly well run. All their money, or the majority of their income as a country, as a nation, comes from selling oil. And so if nobody buys oil from them, then they're in dire straits. Well, why are we buying oil from them? Because Joe Biden, the left, won't let us drill what's under our feet. So here we are paying them, giving them money. Where's this money going to? It's going to the war in Ukraine. And I know we've cut back a little bit, but I guarantee we're still buying some oil from them, not directly through them, but like some subsidiary which gets their oil from them. Well, we're not buying from them, but they bought from them and they're selling it to, come on. So your money, your tax dollars is going to purchase oil from a country that then use that money to invade Russia. So here she is. She's like, this is terrible. These crimes, these atrocities, and they are. What Russia has done is awful. It's unconscionable, which it is. But she leaves out the part that the reason that they had the money to invade and thank God their military is in such a sad state still, but their equipment that they purchased from Iran and other countries like that is bought and paid for with money that we send them because we won't drill what's under our feet. It goes right back to that. China, Iran, Saudi Arabia, but Middle Eastern countries who, let's be honest, don't care for us much. We are sending them money, which they will then use to try and bring us down. Well, what's an easy way to stop this? Well, we stop sending them money, they go out of business, or they don't have the all this extra cash to be investing in nuclear fusion and other things like Iran is, or upgrading their arms or whatever they're doing with it, whatever ill-gotten thing they've decided to do with the money you and I sent them. We don't need to be sending them money. So all we have to do to stop this is drill what's under our own feet, what's right here in our country. We wouldn't need it. We could become the chief exporter of oil if we did that. We would be selling the oil. We would be making the money, and we would be completely independent of all these countries, and they wouldn't be able to blackmail us. They wouldn't be able to spike our oil prices at a whim. Heaven forbid they all came together and actually worked as a cohesive unit. They could bring this entire country down, but they squabble amongst themselves, so they're not able to do that. Thank God. That's the only. Thank God. But again, Biden's, no, we're not going to drill. We're going to make everything difficult. And then now the leftists are all coming down on him because he finally is like, okay, well, we're going to maybe drill out here. Well, let us just drill where we want to drill, Joe. Let us bring down the gas prices. You can still tax the bejesus out of them, which you do already. And we'll be able to, but again, that goes against if he lowers the gas prices too much. Couple of problems for him specifically, for the left. Well, then electric vehicles become a lot less appealing because the cost of electricity keeps going up because more people start using electric vehicles and the grids aren't prepared for that. And so the cost of electricity per kilowatt hour, or however you want to measure it, goes up. And the most recent study said, based on the previous gas prices when they were high, which is what Biden was trying to do, just not as quickly as it happened, the cost of fueling or charging an electric vehicle had become more expensive than gas. And that's with gas prices when they were higher. So now that they've actually come down a little bit, it's an even more noticeable difference because as you increase the number of vehicles that need electricity, you have to increase the amount of electricity. And if you have a limited supply, you either have to shut it off or you have to charge more for it. Your basic, economics 101. That's why Newsom, when we were having the heat wave in August, had to tell electric cars, please don't charge between like 4 and 9, 4 in the afternoon and 9 in the evening, because it was going to bring down the grid. And here's a guy who wants every car electric by 2036. Mark, what do you got for me? Oh, civics. I love civics, first of all. But yeah, Mark, what do you think of civics being mandatory for graduating from college? Our Republicans are thinking I think it's amazing. And that's a DeSantis idea. I doubt he came up with it, but he maybe did. But civics is great. CRT is something that, creating racial tensions is something that teaches kids to dislike each other, hate each other, judge each other based on race. It's absurd. It's so stupid. They wouldn't do it unless we taught it to them. If kids were running around free, just running around and us adults got out of their hair, they play with each other. They don't judge each other. I know the liberals are like, they're racist by age 3. Sorry, please. So civics, here's what civics is. Civics is what you can do as a citizen of the country to improve said country, to improve your community, and make where you live in your country a better place to live. And what I love about civics is it's what you can do as a citizen of that country. It's not what you can do as a black citizen, an Asian citizen, a white citizen, a black. It's about being a citizen of the country first. And that's when we, I think, tackle racism. Well, first we would get Democrats out of office who basically hold office by perpetuating racism. That's step one. But once they're gone, we embrace the fact that you should be, and I know it's going to ruffle a lot of feathers, be an American first. Yeah, you're black, you're white, you're this. I have this history. Be an American. If you're an American first and really foremost and only, then race, guess what doesn't exist anymore? Race. If we're all Americans, then we just have to hate each other based on whether or not we wear masks. The left will always try to turn us against each other, and politicians in general, and they will use the lowest hanging fruit, the easiest fruit, which is race. Oh, look, he's black, he's white, he's Asian, or whatever. And here's something else that's interesting, because Democrats have this level of acceptable racism, approved racism. They call it equity, but it's racism. But like racism is a horrible thing, and so it spreads. It spreads like wildfire. So Democrats' acceptable racism pool keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. In Fairfax, Virginia, I think as of a couple of weeks ago, the district attorney there is now suing the school district because they sent out an email that said they were only going to give college preparatory aid to minority students, and they were excluding essentially Asian and white. So now if you're Asian, you're now, guess what? Congratulations, you're in the pile of acceptable racism. Also included in that pile, ever growing, because racism is horrible and should be wiped out, period, and not just directed at who's directing it? Obviously the Democrats. But Native American would also be not getting college support. Alaskan would not be. Pacific Islander would not be. They're all excluded because they're the wrong race. They're not the right. It's like, and this is how you're going to defeat racism. They have no intention of defeating racism. They want a racist country because it's the only reason anyone would try and keep them in power, even though because they don't realize they're the ones perpetuating it. They're the ones, literally, if they can't find it, they create it. It's like, it's frustrating. It's very frustrating. All right, Mark, sorry. They will be required to know the Federalist Papers. Oh boy. We can talk about this in a second too. Know the Federalist Papers. I hate to say, I don't really know the Federalist Papers. Letters from Birmingham jail and Gettysburg Address. Yeah, I mean, I don't have. I'm so embarrassed. I feel like the Gettysburg Address is solid. I know what that is. The other two, yeah, I feel like as long as they're promoting unity, I'm all for it. Anything that promotes unity, I'm for. Anything that doesn't, I'm against. It seems like a basic tenet just for civics, right? Then are we going to get rid of TikTok? I hope so. And I say that as someone who has, 65,000 followers on TikTok. TikTok, they censor. It's Chinese, so anytime I put up any Fauci stuff, it immediately gets taken down because all my Fauci stuff was the virus came out of the lab, which it did. I think we can all admit that now, even if you don't want to do it publicly, in your home privately. Yeah, it's not that. Again, it's not a surprise. It's not a stretch. Oh, the lab that makes COVID released the COVID. Yeah, okay. It didn't come out of a sandwich in the wet market. No. Just to pick that choice. You have two choices: the weapons lab, or some rando market, Frank's Market. I'm sure it's a nice market. Maybe it isn't. But if you have these two choices, you could pick of where the virus came out. To go with the sandwich makers, or the soup house. It's willful ignorance of truth. Apparently Kamala got booed at the NCAA. She's not well liked, Mark. She's not well liked by anyone. Even the left doesn't. She doesn't say anything. It's nothing but word salads with her. She's afraid to. She's not a good politician. I mean, politicians will dance a little, they'll walk, they'll be evasive, but at some point they'll say something that you can understand. Kamala never says anything. She avoids making any commitment to anything. You can't even ask her what her job title is or what her actual duties of the job are without her evading that question. That's an easy one. You couldn't answer that, And then Colbert calls her out on it. That's just pathetic. Yeah, so she can't buy a friend. Nobody likes her. Biden doesn't like her. Never has. You can see that the body language, but they're hardly ever together, pictured together. It's always an awkward photo if they are in the same room. And who can blame him? If Biden's avoiding you, how bad are you as in terms of your popularity? I think at this point, I'm pretty sure it's scary, but Biden is more popular than Kamala right now. I know I have nothing to back that up. It's out of my instinct, but I'm sure there's some pull out. I know that was the case before, and I see no reason why that would have changed, because Biden, at least you could be like, well, okay, he's senile, and he is. Stop pretending there's a reason he won't take a cognitive test. And Kamala is technically should be, pretty with it based on her age, and she isn't. So she really doesn't have an excuse. All right. So she, I'm not surprised she got booed. Her appearance on Colbert only served to reinforce why people don't like her. So she would probably have been better off if she didn't do it, because it's just another public reminder of what a useless prop she is. So you say, let's see what we got here. Mark says, what about the 1% of African American are in real estate development, just as bad in the Latin community? So you want more African Americans in real estate development? Is that what you're saying? I feel like real estate development, that just sounds big. That sounds like a huge money thing with very big corporate, like corporate entities. That's not really a mom and pop operation. I feel like, so I don't know. I don't know. I don't feel the solution is to hire based on race. I don't. Anything based on race to me is racism. So I'm never ever going to be like, yeah, that's good. You always make it on merit. Maybe you encourage more African Americans to get into real estate. I feel like that would help. I feel like African Americans in real estate will likely help other African Americans in real estate who are looking for houses. I would think that'd be a good thing, But I feel like as far as real estate goes, I feel those are like huge companies. When you're dealing with development, the costs involved with development and purchasing all that stuff, they're these massive corporations. So I don't know. I feel like if you check their board of directors at these places, I don't know if the guys on the realtors on the street are minority, but I'm sure there's a few minorities in there. Well, hopefully, ideally hired on merit, which is the only reason anyone should be hired. Actually, they're saying a raccoon did it. They were talking about the left. The left is just like raccoon, sandwich, bird flew into a cat. It's so absurd, but it can't be. No way. It's the weapons lab that was working on COVID or coronavirus. Couldn't be that. Anything but. It's insane. And now you finally, everything that's missing. This is the other thing. Everything that's misinformation on the left becomes true. The laptop, Trump wasn't colluding with Russia, even though they said he was. You've got the vaccine stuff, you've got the mask, all of that, all the stuff that you couldn't post on social media. They would take you down, put you in jail, kick you off the platform, all winding up being true. And obviously one of those things is the lab. And now they're releasing all this stuff. Even the Department of Energy is like, yeah, it's probably the lab. But the left is still like, no, not the lab. We can't admit it. It's like, we all know it's the lab. We've all known it's the lab. I feel like even you knew it was the lab. My leftists out there. Can we stop with just at least this one? You can still play make believe with all your other stuff, but can we have this one, please? A little common sense back in the room. Talking about Kamala. Okay, so Kamala says Kamala's a nice interracial couple with her and her husband. Yeah, sure they are. Oh, yeah, good for them. I'm glad they're happy. I just think I want to be happy, live your life, but she's a terrible vice president, probably one of our worst. It's hard pressed to find one who's done less. At least I feel like every vice president up to her could tell you what their job entailed. You not have to dodge the question. Okay, so you're saying not how to create an opportunity to build and use real estate they have. Hey, I'm all for equality. Equity is a code for racism, and it's basically growing into who you can be racist against. That's why Harvard's being sued by Asian American students, because based on merit they should be getting into Harvard more, and now they're being less because they're like, we got too many Asians. We can't have that so many Asians. I know their merit says that they should be here, and if we were a completely raceless society and we're just basing things on merit, they would be here. But we're going to be racist and not let them in because they're Asian. because of the color of their skin, if you will. I was saying in one of my newscasts that, especially with the Pacific Islanders and all these other people, that it's just now okay to be racist against, because racism is horrible. And when you allow it, it just grows and festers. It never shrinks unless you're trying to defeat it and not amplify it, which the left is for political gain. I was saying, so the acceptable racism now for the left is at medium brown. If you're medium brown or lighter, it's okay to be racist against you. That's I feel like where it's at. What happened? Am I still on, Mark? I kind of lost it for a second. I think I'm still on. Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't put it. I don't have no idea, Mark, but I'm not going to say no. It's entirely possible it could have been created in a lab. We need to stop monkeying around in the lab. We need to stop just creating viruses just to see if we can create a virus, or create these insanely fatal. That's what I'm looking for. Fatal viruses, just to see if we can cure them in case they ever occur on their own. It's like we are our own worst enemies. We really are. I'm sure they're working on some other horrific viruses in various labs throughout the country and across the world right now, that either one, they're creating intentionally to kill other people. These viruses that they're creating, what they're doing, it seems to me, it's pretty obvious. They're trying to create viruses based on DNA, on genetics, that will only kill a certain race of people, if you will. I feel like in China, they're working on a virus that, and again, this is just my theory. It's a little bit crackpot, but it's my theory, because these are bioweapons. These are bioweapons that will only kill certain people. Non-Chinese would be my guess. That's what my thinking is. And then you release it, and then, oh, look, all of our enemies died, and we're fine. We're immune to this because of chromosome, whatever. I don't know. Now again, I'm pulling that out of my butt, but that's a theory, and I feel like there's probably some validity to it. You have a friend at GSK isn't a left or right issue. What is GSK, Mark? I don't know. I missed that. GSK. I'm glad. You know what? I actually like issues that aren't left or right. It's nice to have those. I feel no matter what the issue is, it somehow gets turned into a left or right issue. But it's nice when we can actually just use common sense as a group. And I've told you this before, Mark. I hate the two-party system. I don't think there should be any parties. I think everything should be based on common sense, but it isn't. I wish the only party was the party of common sense. And right now, the left is not that party. They are opposed to common sense. They're opposed to merit. They're opposed to just about everything that if you had I don't want to be too rude, but if you had a brain, you'd be like, well, that seems like a crazy idea. That's not going to work. Case in point, New York right now. I just read a story about it. Oh man, I've been ripping. I haven't even looked at the news too much, but New York right now is lowering the test standards yet again. This is on Fox News. It says Blue State, New York, reportedly changing minimum test scores for proficiency in key subjects. Let me explain this to you. Again, this is not a complicated explanation. It's something anyone with a brain would figure out. If you are lowering the minimum test scores for proficiency, you don't have proficiency. If you had hit the numbers, you could say you're proficient. If you're lowering them, you don't have proficiency. Your new proficiency is not proficiency. Your old proficiency was proficiency in a normal intelligence society. You would be raising those standards, not lowering. When you lower the bar, you lower the product. And the Democrats are perfectly fine with lowering the product because that's who they want to vote for them. People who can't get jobs. These kids graduate these schools with no usable skills. They get a diploma and it's worthless because they've never learned anything. They were never held back. They were never held accountable. Merit's been thrown out the window. All it is about blaming people for your future life that's going to suck because your education was so bad, because the Democrats in control of your school system decided to give up on you. And when you give up, you think these kids don't know when you keep lowering their scores? What is that message that send them? They're like, we don't think you're that smart. And so, if you can get any job, we'll be surprised. So here's your worthless diploma. Have a good time. And so, yeah, anytime I hear that they're lowering this, never, ever maybe one question on a test. Okay, that was really hard. Everyone got it wrong. But when you keep lowering the standard, you keep lowering the product, and sadly, that's what Democrats want. And the only proof you need on this, and this is New York, is look what charter schools are doing. They're killing it. You put them up against a public school, you spend half the money per student. It's about 16,000 versus about 35 or 37,000 for a public school versus a charter, which is 16, 17. And the kids in the charter schools are thriving because the teachers in that school and the schools themselves only stay in business. They only keep their charter if kids succeed. So they are highly, highly motivated to produce a product, your child, that is going to be successful. And that's why parents love charter schools, specifically because they're most in them minorities, because they're like, well, my kid's just getting thrown under the bus here. They think he's an idiot, and they give up on him before they even start. And so here's the charter schools, and they're colorful and bright, and the teachers are engaging, and so it can be done, and it's not a money issue because it's half the cost of these public schools. And they sometimes will have these in the same building. They'll have a charter school in the same building as a public school. I mean, it's like going from Shangri-La to just like, I don't know, it's like Dresden after the bombing, I guess. It's night and day difference. Yeah, this school's getting twice as much money as this one. It's about attitude, and it's about belief that children can succeed. It's about the inherent intelligence in our kids. And I always say it's not a minority kids. They're being held back not because of their inherent intelligence, which they have, but because of the inherent racism of those running the school. Because if they didn't inherently have racism, they would know these kids are capable of doing anything, of achieving anything, that they are highly intelligent when they are in an environment that supports that. Oh, there he is. Hey, buddy.
I had a bunch of Brent Cannon and tell you everything, but actually, I think because actually I've done some work in that field. It's actually one of the jobs that I have. I want to say that the New York Board of Regents is actually one of those things that isn't done by appointment and all in that space, because it's actually, I want to say that it is done by a whole organization that's supposed to be nonpartisan and have a variety of people in all in that space. So I don't know that, even though it's in New York, that we can blame it strictly on the Democrats, because I know folks that have actually gone there and been in those meetings.
I blame everything on Democrats. So you know that, right?
I know you do. That's why I had to come in there and correct you.
Here's the thing. Well, you got to correct me because I will go on. But Governor Whitmer wanted these charter schools. She wanted it in the budget because they're doing so well. She's a Democrat. So I was like, all right, cool, good for her. But she was, because they're in the pockets of the unions, a lot of these Democrats, unfortunately, politicians are like, no, we're sticking with the more expensive and poorer output public schools because they're getting paid, right? I mean, and this is an infighting between Democrats, which I was glad to see, because I'm like, okay, we're finally recognizing and actually putting these kids first, instead of, just strictly going along party lines and because the union's paying you. Someone finally got a conscience.
Well, apparently the regions are actually run by some chancellor. So I don't know who appoints him, but it says
get rid of this guy.
It says that regions are responsible for the general supervision of all educational activities within the state, that being the state of New York, presiding over the university and the New York State Department of Education.
So they're the ones lowering the test scores. Is that what you're saying?
They would be the ones doing that. They're the ones that make those decisions.
Whoever they are, Republican or Democrat, they are completely wrong. In their whatever their agenda is, or the way they think that they can help these kids out. Lowering the scores is definitely not the way to do it. That's been the problem. Just quitting on these kids. I'm gonna guess they're Democrat and just say it, because why the heck not? I can't prove it.
That's just what you like to do.
I do. I'll paint with a broad brush, Mark.
You just like to paint with a broad brush, but actually a friend of mine actually went to Albany, because like I said, one of the companies I work for, that's actually where they have their regular meetings, and they've been there a couple of times. So they said that they're a very interesting group. They go up to Albany and meet with them and all in that space, and apparently they got committees and they decide who's going to what the questions are, what the nature of the questions will be, and then they set up rubrics in the whole 9 yards. But definitely that is what goes on in that space and everything, and that's just one example. West Virginia does the same. There are a number of other states that do it. It's all part of that Common Core stuff that's been going on, that both the Democrats and the Republicans support on some level or another.
I don't support Republicans or Democrats who support Common Core, just because it makes my life hell trying to teach my son Common Core, man. I'm like, it's so easy. Just do this. And then like 10 pages later, they come to the same answer they could have had in 30 seconds if they had multiplication tables memorized.
Yeah, no, that's true. But I don't know if you saw the other chat things, but I was going to bring
Oh,
those up.
I was going
That popped
slow,
up.
like I'm
Yeah,
slowly rolling each.
yeah,
Which
because
one
I
you
know
going?
you're going to have a field day with this, but I did see that I think it's Shaston is very upset because people are going after his husband and saying that, they are trying to deal, or at least his husband is, with the issues that are going on. But apparently they have a child now, Chaston and Pete, but that is the husband of Peter Buttigieg. And definitely they were saying, y'all need to lay off of the talks around the woke politics. We are trying to deal with the infrastructure issues and all of those issues that are supposed to be part of transportation. But apparently he was a little upset that some of your Republican allies were calling him out and calling them out for taking maternity leave or some other kind of leave that they
Well,
said.
yeah, it's like it's what I have not delved into that story too much. So I'm not gonna go into too much detail. But yeah, I mean, there's a point, like if that's your job and it's an important job and like trains are crashing and blowing up and toxic chemicals, I mean, you might want to take a break from maternity leave and get back to work, or find somebody better to cover your bases while you're gone. I there's a certain amount of responsibility you have when you're at that high a level. And yeah, we'd love you to have a year maternity leave. Sure, that'd be great. We don't get that, as private sector workers, but yeah, you're government employees, so you're all good. But at the same
Government
time,
sector
you have a
workers.
job to do, and if your job's not getting done, you need to figure out a way for it to get done, or you need to get back to the office.
Well,
Instead
I mean,
of sitting around.
several things that government sector workers do, don't we? Uh, they are allowed to do it in private sector, isn't? Because I know that there have been conversations around 4-day work weeks. I think government sometimes they work 3 or 2-day work weeks and everything.
Let's be honest, some of them work one.
Yeah, that's true. Some of them work one day. And then, there's the whole notion of, there's people that are trying to fight to get $15. And I don't know that that's even going to be enough for the McDonald's workers and some of the other ones.
Well,
And they
they get
they,
replaced
they pretty
more.
much give themselves a raise, whether they're Republicans or Democrats. I think they give themselves a raise weekly. I don't even
Oh,
think that
they
they do
do.
it annually.
Yeah,
I think that
they
they give themselves
absolutely
a
do.
raise weekly.
But did you see what's you see? I went to McDonald's a couple days ago. I went there and I hadn't been in a while. And yeah, it's like it's all no one's at the counter. Everyone's on the computers. So that whole $15 an hour thing, well, we'll raise the, again, and everyone said this, like, look, they're just going to get replaced by computers because in order to stay in business, they can't be paying this to 10 employees. So they'll keep 5 and then they'll do the rest with computers. And that's exactly what happened. So those 5 get more money and then the other 5 get fired or not hired in the first place. Because I mean, I went in there, I actually walked up to the guy, I go, can I order from you? Because everyone's on these computers. He's like, yeah, okay.
Like, sure, I'll take
Everyone
yours.
else is on doing it all through the computer, and then it goes to the other computer, and they make your
Well,
sandwich.
there's
People
some
to
futurists
make
out
them.
there now, and I know you're gonna love this one because I know that you're trying to do this for the rest of your life. You want to be around for
Yeah,
your son's birth, your
heck yeah.
grandson's birth, your great grandson's birth. But apparently, there is a modern day futurist out there that says that by 2030, that's not that far away, 7 years from now, the human race will be immortal because he's saying the technology is working. That there'll be little robots and little nano robots that can go through your body and that they can fix whatever is going wrong. So it's like,
Maybe the Illuminati will, maybe the very ultra wealthy will, I think, the rest of us, I don't know. I don't think they want us all around that long.
like I said, I was surprised when he said that because he's like, yeah, they will be around that long. And apparently he has a good track record because he's predicted some other things all in that space. But yeah, he predicted that humans in the year 2030 will be dealing with immortality. And I'm going like, so that we're all going to be like those vampire movies that we all used to remember
Yeah.
watching. So that's how they got it. But yes, there is a gentleman that says humans will achieve immortality in 7 years, and that is Ryan Kurzweil. So he predicted that a few days ago, and he says that AI is exceeding what we expected. So we can expect to be over there dealing with immortality, and they can download everything that you're thinking. So all those thoughts
Oh
you've
my
got
God.
about the Democrats, you can download them, and folks can still like
What are
listen
they
to
doing?
them. So,
Sounds like a
huh?
nightmare. It sounds like a horrible sci-fi thriller, of some sort. But I don't know. I question everything about this story, but I don't know that it's even if it's true, if it happened, that it would be a good thing because then you would lose the free will and free if they could just kind of download what you're going to think and which party you're going to be and adjust your brain thoughts and
No,
all that other
like
stuff.
I said, apparently Mr. Kurzweil had some luck
Wins.
because he correctly predicted in 1990 that a computer would beat a human in chess by 2000. He correctly predicted
I could have predicted that. I don't feel like that's that hard of prediction.
That's not hard either. He correctly predicted the growth of the internet and the shift to a more wireless technology. Not that those aren't easy
Got a good track record.
those are pretty easy to predict as well. Apparently, he did not do that well with one of his other predictions because he predicted that we will reach singularity by 2045. But and apparently he wrote a book about that, and not 2045. So maybe we'll still get it. But singularity is the moment when machine intelligence becomes equal to or surpasses human intelligence. So
you know what? Honestly, I feel like we're pretty close to that right now. You got all this AI rolling around now, and this is just like the general public AI. Who knows what the like the military grade AI is? So I feel like that's quite possible by 2045. At some point, sentient, Skynet level technology, and we've already proved with viruses, we're willing to make stuff that's going to kill us. So,
well, apparently, we talk about viruses, and apparently, our good friend Elon Musk and his scientists and engineers are running around developing something called the Neuralink. So that's going to help the disabled move, communicate, and restore vision. But who else knows what the Neuralink might do? Oh, I was going to ask you. That's what I'm asking them to bounce off. But what is your thoughts about apparently our good friends over there in China are becoming good buddies with a number of people because apparently they brokered a Saudi-Iran deal. So they're helping them unify over there in the Middle East. And now apparently they are going to play nice with Mr. Putin because apparently Xi is going to go hang out with Mr. Putin because he said, I'm down with you and all of that. Though they're going to hang out next week and everything. So what do you think about these supposed enemies of the West, no matter what your politics are, heading out and hanging together?
Well, it's not good for us. That goes without saying. For any of us, Democrat, Republican, Independent, it's not good. And it goes back to let's stop feeding them money. Let's stop buying oil off them. Let's drill our own oil and get off of the teat, if you will, of our enemies. We're our own worst enemies. We give them billions, really, for oil. And what are they spending it on? Getting rid of us.
They're spending on getting rid of us, and that's what they're doing. Well, like I said, the other thing that's going on that a lot of people are excited about, I know I'll be watching it shortly, haven't turned on my TV, is March Madness. So my Marquette team will be playing in about an hour and a half.
Huskies at 4:30. Who's your team? Who's your team? I got Huskies at 4:30. Who's your team?
You got Huskies at 4:30, and we beat y'all, but I'm a Marquette graduate. So,
Marquette, cool.
So we've got the Vermont at 2:30. So we got the Vermont team at 2:30. I actually heard somebody predicted the Huskies could make a run for the championship. I was
they're legit. I think they're legit this year. So I'm excited. We're gonna check that out at 4:30. But this is good. I'm actually gonna cut out now just because I'm at my folks, so I'm trying to spend a little bit more time with them.
You gonna spend some time with them? I just want to know if that was your old house, and then I'm gonna bounce off as well.
This is my old house. Yeah, this is the old place.
No, not that one. The one behind you, the nice little barn house is behind you. The picture of the house.
Oh, that. Yeah, no, that's just art. That's just art. This is the house I grew up in. I'm visiting my folks, so in Connecticut, and so I'm like, oh, this is great. And it's nicer than mine. My studio, it's just a wall and put some stuff up. This is actually looks lived in because it is.
Now, are both of your parents equally as conservative since you're always given the
no,
or do you have a parent that is sitting there going like, no, we're Democrats or we're a little bit more on the liberal side?
More to the left, yeah. But so do most of my friends. I used to be a crazy leftist, not crazy leftist, but I would vote Democrat. I'd still vote Democrat if I actually felt like the candidate. Yeah, I vote on ideas. I really, if you actually have good ideas, I really don't care what your party is. But
I believe that. I believe that about you, but I also think that your parents are probably sitting there shaking their heads, going like, oh, "What do we do wrong?"
You know what? They're at the age they don't know what I'm doing.
Like, what do we do wrong?
I think I'm going to bring them around. They're going to be like, we did good. Maybe a little column A, column B. Who knows?
Who knows? Well, I will bounce off, let you have your closing remarks and everything. But that's what's fun about in and everything. And I'll be following what Chasten and Pete and the rest of the gang do and who gets booed at whatever their playoff games are.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Mark. Hey, pleasure talking to you as always. thank you, everybody. Please do check me out at jeffahern.com. And have a great weekend. Enjoy March Madness. That's something I think we haven't politicized yet. We probably will get around to it at some point. But let's all, Democrats, Republicans, Independent, have a beer, watch some basketball, and forget politics for a while. All right. God bless everybody. Have a good one. Go Marquette and go UConn. And as I always awkwardly sign off. Bye. Come on, Mark. You're right there.
How you holding up? Nothing wrong with getting help.
If I promise to look into it, will you drop it and help me build this fence?
Now you need my help.
If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Hello and welcome to the Newsday with Jeff Ahern. I'm your host, Jeff Ahern. Today's top story. Kim Kardashian just announced plans to launch a private equity firm as she puts the ass in assets. Finally, a private equity firm with a solid Instagram presence. Always a good sign, too, when every news announcement of your new venture has to disable the comments section. Like most websites that she's on, you have to be 18 years or older to use it. But it's not rated X. This one is rated R for retirement. Not that you'd want to put your retirement money into it. Sorry, Kim, but you can't fix bad investment advice just by using Photoshop. The only people worse off than those taking Kim's financial advice are those who listen to Matt Damon telling them to buy crypto. Kim is calling her company Sky Partners, as in expect sky-high losses. But clearly, she's serious about it. Here she is wearing a black turtleneck in a publicity photo. She's a regular Steve Jobs if he had a really big rack and a sex tape. Maybe she will do okay. I mean, she's used to handling very big portfolios. And her double D CD is already perking interest. I'm just not sure we all need a private equity firm from the least private person imaginable. Maybe you should stick to the bed sheets, Kim, and leave the balance sheets to the professionals.
Skipping through the end times.
Well, maybe Tesla should have tried a bit harder.
Well, it's hard to go against the corporate power of Westinghouse. Hey, look, a hitcher! You don't see that much anymore.
Pick him up!
What? Have you seen any movie ever? He looks pretty shiny.
Dude! It's the Mandalorian!
Oh, God.
Hey!
Hello.
Where are you headed?
North. Up Petaluma way.
Oh, well, hop in!
I appreciate you stopping.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, how can we deny such a prestigious bounty hunter?
This is the way.
Oh, Dave, it's a lift up here. So what are you doing up in Petaluma?
Meeting some friends at a brewery.
Oh, sweet. Care if we tag along? I'm just kidding. We'd never invite ourselves. But, seriously, if you did, we know some pretty good spots.
Hey, I have a question.
Dude, don't mess this up.
Yeah?
In Season 1, Episode 6, when you had Baby Yoda...
Grogu.
Yeah, sure, Grogu. Why did you have him crawl into the Razor Crest hole to fix a complex electrical issue? Being his father figure, don't you feel just a little bit negligent risking his life like that?
Well, we were stuck and it needed fixing.
Lucky those X-Wing pilots happened to show up, huh? Anyway...
Right. Which brings me to a much larger issue.
Dave, please. So, what was it like meeting Luke, huh?
Honestly, your complete incompetence when it comes to being a bounty hunter.
Oh, God.
Like, you have zero business sense. And let's be real, you're pretty terrible at fighting. You're essentially just moving from one blunder to the next, each time miraculously being saved by some force of sheer luck. And morally, you're kind of meh. So, all in all, kind of borderline unlikable, dude.
Okay, well...
Oh, don't mind him, Mr. Mando. He's just still bitter about the whole Last Jedi thing. and the Rise of Skywalker thing, and and then the entirety of the prequel trilogy thing, and then, Palpatine.
All right, I get the idea.
But we're so lucky to have you around now. I mean, things are on the up and up. Huh? Ahsoka Tano, Dave, huh? Thrawn, dude.
You're right, dude. I'm sorry to be so harsh on you, Mando.
I'm just gonna get out here.
What? Why?
Yeah, why?
I'm just gonna jetpack the rest of the way. Freaking nerds.
Wow.
So cool. Oh my god.
Well.
Oh, look! It's another hitcher. Here's our chance to make up for it.
Huh, you're right. Hey, is that...
I am Boba Fett.
Hey, OG Trilogy, now we're talking.
Hey, so why do you take your stupid helmet off so much?
Dude. Oh, God, we're totally getting sued.
Skipping through the end times.
Now, Timmy, what did we say about electronics at the table, This is family time.
You're right, Dad.
How was school today, sweetie?
Fine. Lots of arithmetic. But my favorite subject was recess.
Oh, what a rascal. This meal looks exquisite, Susan.
Thank you, honey.
Timmy, would you bless the food?
Sure, Dad. Thank you, Lord Mephisto, your blessing is forever. We give you our souls and you fill it with darkness. I love you so. I'm sorry. I just can't do it.
Timmy, show some respect.
You know that in this household we worship the 13 pagan gods of the nether realms.
But none of my other friends have to slit their wrists in blood sacrifice. I just want to be normal for once. Why can't we be Hindu or Scientologist?
Hindu? Well, I never.
Oh, thank Krampus your grandmother isn't around to hear this.
Let's face it, we're a cult.
Timmy, we do not use the C word, especially in front of your precious mother.
Honey, you know we're open-minded. We invite you to leave the pagan church and see what other beliefs are out there. Just keep in mind that if your faith ever wavers, wrath and famine will devour all those you hold dear.
That's right. Your mother and I will be flaming corpses.
But what matters is what you want, honey.
Well, I guess I'll stay pagan for now.
There's our little boy.
I think you mean big boy.
You're funny.
Now how about some grub, huh?
Wait, aren't we forgetting something?
Oh, the ritual of Pazuzu.
That's right. Can you pass the blood, honey?
Of course, dear.
Don't forget me, Mom.
Be right back, gang. And how would you like to do the honors this time, champ?
You really mean it, Dad? No fooling?
You've earned it, son.
Make it a clean cut now.
Misa Nuja, Misa Nuja, Misa Nuja, Misa Nuja, Misa Nuja.
No! Misa Nuja. You don't have to do this! Wait, Jim? I thought that was you.
Karen? How the hell are you?
I'm a first-generation Filipino American. You don't always feel you're a part of the country you live in. It's this weird middle space sometimes that you have to live inside of. But when you meet others that are also living in that space, you'll learn to know that it's its own unique space too.